Well, good morning, sons, and everybody watching this video. It's still March 10th. I'm doing a second video today. Oh, this is number 53. I forgot to change it. Oh, oh darn. Okay, we're back. Jesus is Better, number 53, tore through Hebrews. It's Wednesday morning, March 10th. I'm doing a second video today because I'll be out of town on Friday. So I'm doing the video today and I'll send it out on Friday if everything goes well. So we'll see. If I'm in an area where I can't send it out, then I'll send it out when I get home on Saturday. So Jesus is Better, number 53, tore through Hebrews, and we're gonna go down here. Got to look at my notes. 180, page 182. And we left off this verse last time. Hebrews 9:9, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were both offered both gifts and sacrifices. The writer of Hebrews is looking back into the Old Testament days with the system they had before Christ, where they had to sacrifice animals for temporary forgiveness. And it goes on to say that could not make him that did the service perfect. It was not a permanent forgiveness of sin. It did not cleanse the person's consciousness for a relationship with God. What the people of the Old Testament had to do was look forward to the cross, look forward to the Messiah coming, look forward to living for God. It was more a works time where we're under grace. We're under grace. We're under a new covenant of grace. So that's why this is a better covenant that we have. And that's what we're talking about in this part of Hebrews, is how Jesus is a better covenant. And Hebrews 9:10 says this, which stood only in meats and drinks, and diverse washings, and carnal ordinances imposed on them until, let me do a little work here and change this until. I can't find my cursor. There it is. Until, I'm going to put that in red. Until, which stood only in meats and drinks. The people had to work with sacrificing of animals, through washing their hands and continually washing their bodies, carnal ordinances imposed on them until the time of Reformation, until the time of Christ. We're moving right along, trying to get through this part this morning. Hebrews 9:11. But Christ, being come a high priest, we're under the new covenant, a much better covenant, a permanent, eternal covenant of Christ. Who's the high priest? Jesus Christ. He's a priest that we go to for daily forgiveness, not eternal forgiveness, because once we believe on the death and resurrection of Christ, our heart is changed from a stony heart that was against God to a fleshly heart of loving God. Jesus is our high priest. When Christ died and was buried and rose again, he ascended to heaven, and it intercedes on us moment by moment. He is our high priest that we can come to for strength, for guidance, for correction. He's our high priest of good things to come. He is by a greater and more perfect tabernacle. Jesus is the new perfect tabernacle The Old Testament was just temporary until the better covenant came in Jesus Christ. And this tabernacle was not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building. Jesus Christ is not a building. He's not in a building. Jesus Christ is God himself, who came down out of heaven and was born by a virgin, lived a sinless, perfect life, falsely arrested, falsely crucified, shed his blood, died, buried, rose from that grave, ascended to heaven, and today intercedes on our behalf. And today, are you looking for Jesus to come back? That's the next thing on his agenda, is to come back. It could be today. That's what we have in this new covenant of Christ. Neither by the blood of goats and calves, we don't have to sacrifice goats and calves any longer, but by his own blood. He entered once into the holy place. This is so different than the Old Testament. They had to sacrifice over and over and over and over. Jesus Christ died one time. He shed his blood one time for all time. One time he paid our debt of sin by shedding his blood, dying, and then it was justified when he rose from that grave. He entered once into the holy place, having obtained eternal, that's forever, redemption for us. Who's the us? Those of us that believe on the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Oh, I've got 2 verses ago. I'm going to do it. Excuse me. That's my Kentucky coming out of me. I'm going to do it. Hebrews 9:13. For the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of a heifer sprinkling the unclean, sanctified to the purifying of the flesh. When they sacrificed animals, it pleased God that they trusted that they sacrificed animals because they knew that they had offended God with their sin. So that pleased God, but it wasn't a permanent pleasing. It wasn't a permanent forgiveness. Then look what it says. And this is where we're going to end today. How much more shall the blood of Christ, if the blood of goats and animals could provide even a least bit of forgiveness, how much more the precious blood of Christ, the blood of God himself, that he died for you. He shed his blood for you, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God. Listen, if Jesus Christ did everything, came down of a manger, born of a virgin, died on a cross, and did not live a perfect life while he was here, he would not have been a perfect sacrifice. But see, Jesus lived perfectly. He was without sin. See if I can get this right. 2 Corinthians 5:21 says this. He was made to be sin for us who knew no sin, that we would be made the righteousness of God in him. He did no sin, but became our sin, and we that believe on him, we get the gift of his righteousness. We have no righteousness, but we get the gift of his righteousness. How much more should we value the blood of Christ? Can you see what an offense it is when you say, I don't believe that Jesus did this? I don't believe in the blood of Christ. Do you see how that offends God? It's a holy offense against God, that the wrath of God will be poured out on those who do not believe, who do not have a heart of flesh being transformed by the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. If you have a stony heart today, today look up and say, I believe I sinned. I believe I've offended you. And I believe that Jesus Christ shed his blood for me, and he died for me. And when they buried him, he rose from that grave. If you can believe that today, God will take your stony heart and give you a heart of flesh to believe and to follow Christ. Amen. Love you guys.